Hey, good morning, YouTube. So, I was debating what I wanted to talk about in this vlog, and on the way over to the lake where I'm at right now is actually where I came up with the idea of it. So, a lot of this is just going to be off the cusp. But I was actually thinking about, I tend to see a lot of videos about things like digital minimalism. Now, this is a movement where ideally what it's supposed to be is keeping you off of your phone and allowing you to be more productive and not rely so much on being on your phone all the time, because honestly, smartphone addiction is an actual thing. So I personally try and avoid being on my phone as much as possible. Obviously, if I need to respond to messages, if there's an important phone call I have to answer, most of the time I find myself on my phone for an extended period of time is usually at night, right before bed, going on TikTok or watching YouTube shorts on my phone. So I began to wonder, is digital minimalism more like smartphone rehab? Because one thing that I actually see is people calling it minimalism. To me, signifies that you're using minimalistic things, you're using less things. But a lot of the times, what I end up seeing from people is they're using a larger variety of items to replace their smartphone and calling it digital minimalism. Like, okay, I'm not going to use my phone's built-in camera, I'm going to use a digicam, or I'm going to use a camcorder for video, or I'm going to use an iPod for music instead of using my Spotify or stuff on my phone. But all of these things are still digital. So is it really digital minimalism when you're now having to carry more things with you? I personally love my iPod. I even brought my CD Walkman to see if I had some time to listen to a little bit of music. I use a Kindle now instead of using my phone or listening to audiobooks. I do this. But I don't see that as being minimalistic, because now you're carrying around more items with you. I think we need to call it what it really is, and that's rehab of your smartphone. The addiction is real for a lot of people. There's times where I would see my uh, phone time, on iPhone, it'll let you know at the end of the week, hey, this is how much you were on your phone. And I want to say a couple years ago, it was a lot higher. It's a lot lower now. But, I would see 4, 5 hours a day on my phone. And that to me is wild. To imagine 4 to 5 hours of being on my phone instead of being more productive doing something else, or reading a book, or something, just kind of taking in more knowledge. I like to think that the internet is a great source for knowledge, because back in the day we had, the books, the Britannica books, stuff like that. We had to go to dictionaries to look up words. So the internet obviously is a great source for information and to gain knowledge. A lot of YouTube videos I watch are providing me knowledge on how to do stuff like this better. And there's great spaces for the internet, but at the same time, when we do have stuff like TikTok or Instagram and stuff like that, where you're just doom scrolling all day, you really start to wonder, what are we what are we doing, I guess. And our reliance on our phone for everything, maps, this is very fast. If you want to take a picture, you immediately swipe. You can take a picture, you can start recording. Video, you can look something up right away. If you need to get somewhere right away, you look up directions. You don't have to print directions out. You don't have to look up a map or anything like that. So it does have its uses, but I just don't like calling it digital minimalism, because all you're doing is replacing one digital item with more digital items, um, and just smartphone rehab. That's a little term I coined up. I'm sure it exists out there, but that's what it is for me. And how can we put ourselves away from being on our phone so much? If you find yourself constantly reaching for your phone, you need to ask yourself, am I going to do something actually productive on my phone, or am I just going to doom scroll an app or play a game on my phone or something like that? So yeah, I've just found myself trying to rely less and less on my phone, but all I'm doing is replacing it. with a bunch of other stuff. And that's really what I like to consider it. So, no, for me, it's not digital minimalism. I'm going to carry around more items with me, but it's because for me, I find it more enjoyable using these other items than my phone. I really don't have fun doing everything on this. Like, yeah, I enjoy getting, videos and stuff like that sent that are funny. It's hilarious, it's amazing. That's what, America's Funniest Home Videos used to be back in the 80s and 90s. That's how we would get this kind of entertainment. And now it's available to us at any time. I'm sure right now, if I open TikTok, one of the first 5 videos I'm going to get is someone doing something stupid or someone falling or a prank or something. So back then, we had to wait for America's Funniest Home Videos to come on TV to be able to get that kind of enjoyment. And while it's great that it exists now in this form, um, we were more limited on a lot of that stuff. And I'm not necessarily saying you have to stop, watching funny videos or, memes and stuff like that. It's just that's the world we live in now, and that's how it's going to be. I just think that if you're going to reach for your phone, try and tell yourself what's the reason for it. Um, if it's literally because you're sitting on your couch bored, think about what else you could be doing. Is there something you can be teaching yourself that's a little bit more informative or stuff like that? I think we've lost a lot of what it is to uh, you know absorb information in the way that we want to. So it's not for everybody. Not everyone's going to be okay with putting their phone in their pocket or anything. I mean, trust me, like the moment I get up in the morning, I grab this, it's in my hand all the way to wherever I'm going, the kitchen, wherever, it's always with me. There's times where I try and avoid stuff like that. I will say, you know what, I'm just going to leave it at my desk. I'm going to go over here and stuff like that. And I feel like we rely so much on instant gratification or instant responses when we send out a text. We send a text out to someone, we're immediately wanting a response back, because we need something or we want to ask something or we're saying good morning. So, if you notice that you send a text and you're kind of frustrated that you're not getting a response within the minute of you sending that, there's a problem. Back in the day, and again, I'm a dinosaur. I was born in 1987, so I've been through the whole technology shift into what we are today. Um, Back in the day, we would just make phone calls on a landline phone. We would look forward to receiving phone calls from friends and family, and it was a more, it was a bigger deal when you would get a call. You would be excited about it. We actually used to get excited about getting phone calls. Nowadays, it's nothing but spam. And if it is a family member or a friend trying to call, our response is, "Can't you just text me?" Like we don't want to converse with people. It's really strange how we want to be a part of a community, but at the same time we shut ourselves out from actually talking to people, being afraid of talking to other people and stuff. So it can be rather sad to see that sometimes. But you know, once cell phones became a thing in the 90s and such, that people had cell phones, it was still pretty rare. Not a lot of people had them. But more and more people were getting it until the 2000s, where it became more of a widespread thing for people to have cell phones. But even then, it was for phone calls and then eventually text messaging. But text messaging took forever because you were not using a keypad the way you are nowadays on your phone. You were using T9. You were entering the number 3 multiple times to get, a certain letter and such like that. So it was different. But then we had emails. We would send emails to people, you know, how are you? That became our letters, that we would mail out. It was a thing where we would send an email to someone and then eventually look forward to getting that email and such. So much ended up changing, then AOL Instant Messenger came out. And it was still a thing where you had to be on your computer to access AOL Instant Messenger for a while. and you'd be on your computer, and the excitement you would get seeing someone come online, was amazing. So I just have to say that I think I'm getting a little bit off topic here. I'm just kind of rolling with it, but I feel that so much has changed, and that's fine. But at the same time, I think we could stand to not be on our phones so much, not rely so much on them for satisfaction or enjoyment. Try and find yourself a cheap digital camera, a digicam, the way people call it, for taking pictures. You'll find yourself actually enjoying it a lot more. Taking photos. The photos aren't going to look as good, but that's fine sometimes. We don't need everything to be in 4K. We don't need everything to be shot with a 30 megapixel camera. There's something genuinely beautiful about taking pictures with an older digicam and then, seeing the results of those pictures and how they look, and taking them with family and friends. People are more likely to allow you to take pictures of them with something like that than something like an SLR. Hey guys, so unfortunately my mic decided to stop working after this, and it was creating a really loud sound. So I apologize that I couldn't get to the end of the video, but I was pretty much wrapping it up. Just want to let you guys know that it's amazing, the community that is starting to form around my channel, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and hopefully you take away something from what I was talking about. I will definitely see you guys in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your week. Take care, guys.